Did you know that the wealthiest 1% of the population accounts for nearly as much wealth as the rest of the world combined? And as inflation increases faster than wages for the majority of the world, billionaires are raking in a jaw-dropping $2.7 billion a day. Interestingly, according to 2022 data by Statista, nearly 2,000 of the 3,194 billionaires had made their massive fortunes themselves, while only 317 had inherited their wealth. So what are these billionaires doing that you and I aren't? How did they make and keep their vast empires? Like, subscribe and let's dive into 10 secrets only billionaires know. 1. Investing early and consistently builds wealth. The typical billionaire is anywhere between 50 to 70 years old. Of course that there are a few exceptions, but even so, every billionaire today who's under 30 inherited their wealth. The reality is that it takes a long time to amass that kind of wealth. That is why almost every billionaire started investing early and did so consistently over decades. Whether we're talking about starting a business or investing in already existing ventures, time is the most valuable resource you have to want to build a fortune. Once you've laid your cards right, compound interest, the eighth wonder of the world, according to Albert Einstein, will do the rest for you. Fun fact, Warren Buffett, considered the most successful investor of our time and one of the 10 richest people on the planet with a net worth of over $130 billion, made his fortune investing consistently over several decades. 2. Go all in on one project, then diversify. If you've ever tried to invest in, say, the stock market or sought investment advice, then you know one of the golden rules of investing: diversification. Basically, you want your portfolio to have a good mix of different investments to minimize your risk, but the wealthiest people on the planet don't actually focus on diversification, at least not at first. Instead, they put all their efforts and capital into one project, and once that starts making money, add on more ventures. You see, while diversification is great for minimizing risk, it can also reduce gains, especially when your capital is stretched thin. A good example of a billionaire who used this strategy to get to where he is none other than Elon Musk, the wealthiest person in the world. He started with a company called Zip2, which he and his co-founders sold 4 years later. He then used most of his $22 million proceeds from Zip2 to co-found X.com, which would later merge with PayPal. He got $176 million when eBay bought PayPal. From here, he began diversifying and currently owns SpaceX, Tesla, X, formerly Twitter, Neuralink, and The Boring Company. 3. You can't build wealth through sheer effort only. You need systems. Hard work pays off. However, most billionaires didn't reach 10 figures by their effort alone. One of the most well-kept billionaire secrets is having systems and people to do much of the work. The ultra-wealthy know that time is their most prized resource, and so they don't waste it trying to do everything themselves. Instead, their goal is to make money even when they sleep. So they build brilliant businesses and then develop systems that combine technology and experts to run things for them. This way, they have passive income streams. You're probably wondering then how billionaires use their time. Well, they make major business decisions, innovate, and connect with valuable networks. 4. Debt should be a tool for growing your income. One of the biggest differences between billionaires and regular people is how they view debt. While middle class and low income earners typically take out debt for themselves and their needs, billionaires leverage debt for business. Now, not all rich people make their money by taking on debt. However, many have turned to debt to raise capital to build or expand their businesses. Basically, if you have to pay interest, which is the cost of debt, you don't want to waste these expenses on bills and non-essentials. Instead, you want to use it to generate more income. That said, always weigh your potential returns against the cost of debt when you want to borrow to invest. 5. Home ownership isn't building wealth. Go to college, get a good job, buy a home, and start a family. This is the American dream. However, there is one small problem with this equation. Home prices have more than doubled in just 7 years, and mortgage interest rates are sky high. So if you want to buy a home, not only will you spend a fortune on it, but also pay back so much more if you take out a mortgage. Now, this would make sense if the property you're buying is a business. In other words, a rental that will bring you income regularly. However, as a primary residence, owning a home is a liability. Remember what we said about debt. Generally, most ultra-rich people invested in their businesses, commercial real estate, or private equity, and then saved up for their homes once the money started flowing in. If you buy a home first, you risk getting into a debt trap. 6. Your network is everything. When Elon Musk bought X for $44 billion and took the company private in 2022, he did so with the help of several co-investors, many of whom have stayed private. This is a prime example of the power of connections. People will not invest in your dream, no matter how good it is, unless they actually know you. When someone gets to know you, they trust you and your abilities, and consequently will be willing to invest in you. The better your connections are, the more opportunities you will have, and the easier success will be for you. So invest your time in nurturing strategic networks. 7. To protect your wealth, you must understand taxes. Did you know that billionaires pay much less personal tax than your average taxpayer? According to a shocking study, billionaires in the US pay a personal tax of around 0.5%. Considering taxpayers in the higher tax bracket pay up to 37% of their income to Uncle Sam, this is extremely low. And in a country like France, where tax rates are pretty high, billionaires pay almost zero. So how do they do it? Billionaires thoroughly understand tax codes, or at least hire expert tax advisors who do. This helps them direct their income into tax-advantaged investments and accounts, some of which aren't as widely known, to minimize their taxes as much as possible. According to the 2024 Global Tax Evasion Report by the EU Tax Observatory, billionaires are notorious for parking their wealth in shell companies to shelter them from income taxes. While you don't typically want to use shell companies to evade taxes, having a tax strategy to lower your tax bill as much as possible can save you money big time, especially as your income increases. 8. Share your pie and watch your empire grow. Jeff Bezos, the billionaire founder of Amazon, owns only 8.84% of his company. Mark Zuckerberg has 13.5% equity in Meta, and Musk owns nearly 42% of SpaceX. As you can see, none of these billionaires own 100% of their company. At some point in their journey to success, they had to give out stakes in their companies in exchange for capital, market share, or even expertise. In fact, billionaires are masters of leveraging other people's money to make money. In the end, it's better to own 10% in a $100 billion company than 100% in a $100 million business. So if you want to grow, share your pie. 9. Crises create opportunities. As small businesses shut down and millions lost their jobs during the COVID-19 pandemic, a new billionaire was created every 30 hours. Even more shocking is that the 10 wealthiest men more than doubled their fortune, from around $700 billion to a staggering $1.5 trillion. Basically, when you see a financial crisis, a billionaire somewhere sees an opportunity. Famous billionaire investors like Warren Buffett are known to hold on to cash when markets rally, then buy undervalued companies at a fraction of their worth when a recession hits. And when the economy eventually recovers, their net worths skyrocket. 10 routines and rituals yield long-term results. While every billionaire is different in terms of expertise, journey to success, and even personality, nearly every one of them has one thing in common, and that's a strict routine or ritual for their success. A typical billionaire's routine includes waking up early to mentally prepare for the day, a healthy lifestyle that includes exercising, reading to improve their knowledge of things, taking out time to think and develop new ideas. This commitment to a consistent routine is what brings about long-term results. All in all, great financial success comes down to fast decision making. You want to implement your plan and grab opportunities as fast as possible. Persuasion. You should be able to convince others to invest in your dream. Do you agree? Drop your thoughts in the comment, subscribe if you haven't, and turn on notifications so as not to miss out on our next video.